Good evening. This is John Presko coming to you live from Springfield, Oregon on October 22nd, and it's 3:37 a.m. I am a walk-on. I can't avoid this fact, truth, reality any longer. My niece Shannon attacked my offspring, the truth that I sired a daughter who had two of my grandchildren, Tyler and Ember. She is my sister's eldest daughter, who did not have a child, and her half-sister, Drew Benton, looks like she's not going to have a child either. Therefore, I am carrying on the lineage in my family from the marriage of Vic Presko and Rosemary Rosamond. My brother had a son who has 4 children, but they're Filipino. And I say but because my brother's a very racist, misogynist human being, and he's called these children mud children, and he's refused to acknowledge them, the last that I heard. And Cian, my nephew, changed his name to O'Brien, his mother's new husband, that's his surname, and he changed his name from Presko, Cian Presko, to O'Brien. Oh, jeez. So I'm a genealogist. I've been looking at my genealogy, looking at the biographies about my late sister, the world-famous artist Christine Rosamond Benton, written by outsiders. One was a self-help book that ripped off our 12-step program. Christine drowned on her first sober birthday in AA. Her birthday's coming up October 8th. I'm going to, I've been declaring to her oldest daughter, Shannon, because of her verbal abuse, incredible things that she's saying to negate me, to unborn me. Basically what my daughter has been up to, unborning me. And it's this unborning me that's indicating that what the 3 psychics at the Berkeley Psyche Institute saw, that I died and came back, and make the conclusion of Hillary Larson had a train lane that I'm a walk-on after I told her about this. Trying to have a family has been, since I died, it was hard having a family before I died, and it's contributed to my death. I just gave up because of the extreme psychic, verbal, and physical and sexual abuse that I suffered. I fell off some rocks at McClure's Beach. We'd taken some LSD in very powerful doses, and I fell at the top of a rock and put a gash in my hand here. You can see the bone. We had trouble getting me off the rock. My friends, 2 friends, because they were very, very stoned on LSD as I was. They could barely move. We were stuck up on this rock about 200 feet high. We had to get down. Very arduous trip. When we got down, boy, I've talked about it, but we're going to go on. Because I saw God, He restored my life. what to do. After that, there's a couple of sites for near-death experiences, and I had one. But being on LSD has really made it difficult for me to relate, talk about it, because out of fear of people saying I'm crazy and I should be locked up, which is happening with my ugly, evil neighbor downstairs, because she damaged my sister's uh, biography I gave her to read. But there's other things that are going on there. She actually might be in contact with members of my family who actually might be paying her to attack me, or she senses, she's reading about the attacks on my blog, and she's joined them because her mother's losing a lot of face because she went to school with Garth Benton and blah, blah, blah. So here's another birth thing. I can't deal with this anymore. I literally cannot. I'm going to write the book, maybe finish my book, Capturing Beauty, but what's my message? What do I have to say to you as a person that's seen God, that's died, seen death, seen heaven, to come back? I'm a biblical scholar. I've made some astounding discoveries about Jesus. A lot of Christians I've handed this to don't want to read it. False ministers of John Darby and the evangelical tribulation and rapture have convinced all followers to stay to this text. And they say any deviation of what we're teaching you is of Satan, and don't listen. And they said, Donald Trump is your man. He'll get you to see Jesus. He'll be solely responsible for you being united with Jesus after 2,300 years or something. And that's the man. That's the man that'll get you there. You'll get Jesus here on earth, lifting the temple in the sky, tribulation, and everything else. And they won't budge. They're going to vote for him again. The belief systems in my family are absolutely wild and absurd, especially in regards to me and not facing their primary abuser, like Vic Presco and Mark Presco, and the men that they bonded with. My sister bonded with abusive males, and so did my daughter. And I was doing a major healing. We were a daughter and father healing, which the world really needed, when she went and did her mother. She duplicated what her mother did. She fell in love with a guy who couldn't conceive children. I don't know where she met him. I should never ask. Probably in a bar. But he couldn't conceive of a child, and his father really wanted one. And he was a Tea Party leader, and so she did what her mother did, handed her over to her husband, who was a violent maniac, who she fled from. And I met her in a bar, and she says, can we come live with you, me and my two children, 10 and 7, I think. So taking care of her children and have them live with me was a primary reason, because I was reminded of my brother and my abuse. So she said she wanted to go back to him. She was thinking about it. I said, no, you don't get time's up, leave. And I didn't know she was pregnant. She didn't tell me. She handed the baby over to a convict, con artist, Randall Del Piano, known as Bogus Bobby. And this was to do a major healing on him. because, I guess the sex was pretty good and she was, you know, in love with him. Her father was very brutal and beat up uh, her mother, which caused her to jump off a cliff of suicide. So bonding with a male like her father was key to dealing with her mother's suicide. Her mother was in and out of mental institutions. I mean, this is typical codependency behavior. You duplicate your parents' abusive relationships so you can fix them. See, if you can fix your duplication, you fix your parents and you fix you. Well, it doesn't work. It never has. And it's what we're talking about. So when Heather uh, had a baby out of wedlock, my sister encouraged her to keep the baby. When she disappeared from her life for 2 years, she went and saw Vicky, tried to get into the rival biography of my sister, written by a hired ghostwriter who never met Christine or any member of my family. But he's going to do the self-help book that I was working on before Christine died. And so it could be stolen because all these people need money on top of all this dysfunctional behavior, to say the least. Well, they need fame. They need that fame. They need Christine's limelight. So there I am in the way. No, she died on her sober birthday. She's my sister in AA. She's no longer my natal sister. And I'm telling Shannon, she flipped out, attacked me, and just said that I did nothing. Shall I read it to you? I should have set that up. Maybe I'll do that in the next tape. So I was talking with my friend Casey Farrell a couple of days ago about all this. He says, "What's going on in your blog?" I said, "My blog's having trouble. Uh, I got to deal with these people. They're coming into my being and just hurting my animals in front of me and trying to unborn me and trying to destroy me and making these false accusations, and taking my children away and hiding them, and disowning me from Amber, my new grandchild, and all this stuff. It's all aimed at hurting me, and I've done nothing to these people but try to do what I'm telling you right now. They've got a different program than me. I have to accept this morning. It's a mortal program that they're dealing with because they're mortals. I'm a semi-mortal. I might even be immortal because I'm not connected to these worldly. You read how the Greek gods are sired and made visible in their semi-earth bodies and forms. So that's what I'm going through. And Shannon really brought that to a head. She's saying, that even siring a child is suspicious and wrong and no good, and you're no good. And, I mean, how many males have conceived children in the last 10 years on this planet? And why is mine somehow not kosher, not official, not real, not valid? In fact, evidence of what a bad person I am. And to hear this, and I read you this exchange I had with Shannon yesterday on the chat group, Facebook, and I copied it. But she forces my hand. I mean, as I try to apply logic, codependency, therapy, you name it to it, it's not applicable. And the reason is I died on February 11th, 1967, when I was 20 years old. And somehow people who, well, my family, people I was close to, and even the people I bonded with later on, they perceive that there's a divine, eternal, healing person in me because that's what happens. And they go, oh, well, that happened to Jesus. You're not Jesus. You can't say this. You're evil of the devil, see? Oh, it did happen. And Marilyn has seen a light around me, and the light is getting more evident as all these mortal coils are snipped from me. And I saw that the day after I died. All the chakra down here, all the little, like an octopus, all the little strings had been severed to my natal mortal being, birth, and I had to reattach them after death. After death. They're just not going to give me anything. Not going to give me my child, not going to give me grandchildren. Shannon's then borning me, basically, separating me from, her mother, my sister, because you really don't have anything to do with this. It's remarkable. And Heather saying, well, you're not going to have anything to do with Ember. Yet, they bonded with Vic Presco, who sexually molested me when I was 3.5. And when I was in hypnotherapy, Mark called me and said, Vic raped Shannon and Christine's blackmailing him to get Shannon into therapy. Well, Shannon never went to therapy. And we were chatting about that. Therapy doesn't work. AA doesn't work. Well, what works, Shannon? Well, the special love that my mother gave me. Oh, really? You're going to share what that is? You're going to maybe write a book? And I finally confronted her. I says, Christine died in 94. Not one paragraph written by you is in the public domain. And this goes for Drew Benton and Seamus Dundon. Seamus Dundon and Drew Benton were there when Christine ended up in the ocean, the thing that she was afraid of most. Michael Dundon told me 3 weeks ago that he believes Christine was murdered. I says, do you have any, have you heard something? No, he says, I just feel it. Michael Dundon is Seamus Dundon's uncle. His brother was married to my sister, Vicky. So all these connections I made when I came back don't exist anymore. Except with Christine in the afterdeath. She was born October 24th. I'm going to put this video or another one on my blog, and I'm going to announce that I'm taking Christine with me. She was my sister in AA. I have a million sisters in AA. You can see right back here is the painting I did of me and my sister showing a love and an adoration for each other. And I painted it in about an hour and 15 minutes and ran and put it in an art show. I left our faces blank. And blankness represents the truth that we died. Both of us died. But I'm here talking to you, and she's not. So on her birthday, I will be going to that special place that we found as children. We were like psychic twins, very spiritual human beings that our parents and siblings envied. When we had our falling out, thanks to Rick Partlow, and I could say the cocaine, but Christine and Rick did like 20,000 a month, according to Rosemary, my mother, who worked for him. Massive amounts of cocaine. And I went down there with my paintings to see if, take up Christina's offer that we could work together and create together. And Rick blew to thunder, putting lines and lines of coke and whiskey. This painting over here is what we're going to be dealing with. Christine's natal birthday. When I read the writing here, this is Christine and I as anonymous beings, anonymous brother and sister in AA. We're anonymous, but it's called Alcoholics Anonymous. And there's millions of people that suffer from alcoholism disease. And tens of thousands will die each year, almost as many as coronavirus. And nobody's paying attention to alcoholism. Patrice's parents were alcoholics. So there's in the 12 steps, there really is a death and rebirth formula. And a lot of people that have survived, have sobriety, describe the real distinction between their life as a user and their life as a sober person. And when I was told in 1987 that I died and come back, I was sober. I had like 3 months sobriety. And I began Bonds with Angels in 1992. And because Christine and Vicky saw an angel when they were 10 and 5, just standing at the foot of their bed. So I'm going to be going into my angelic body. This is probably the last time I'm going to be speaking to you as a mortal being. I've been reborn, literally reborn by God, and I'll describe that experience over and over. I don't care what the evangelicals think. I don't care what my witchy, fake Christian neighbors think. I don't care. I don't care if Heather duplicates her mother's way of bonding and having children through fake fathers and all that. It's nothing to do with me anymore. It has to do with me saving the world, because that's what the seer said. He said, my books are being dictated by an entity that roams the universe and comes to a planet in dire distress. That dire distress is here. And on my sister's birthday, it's going to be even more stressful, more dire. I predict it. All right, this is the voice of the walk-on. Coming to you live from Springfield, Oregon. You be careful out there here.